Hello and welcome to the story of Get Part 2. In the first part we compared the word get with a Swiss Army knife to refer to its versatility. In this higher level follow-up I'd like to begin with the image of an iceberg. Such a common word should form part of the vocabulary of users of English at all levels, but this may represent just the tip of the iceberg. What we want to do in this class is to have a look at some uses of get which lie beneath the surface. Our first example is the use of get to replace the verb to be as the auxiliary verb in the passive voice. For example, Federer got beaten by Djokovic in the semi-final, the buffet food always gets eaten very quickly, and those toys will get broken very easily. So, this is the same as the combination of the verb to be with the past participle. For example, was beaten, is always eaten, will be broken. So why change from be to get? The answer is that be refers to a state, which implies a passive, unchanging condition. While get, as always, is dynamic. It refers to action, to the process of change from one state to another. I could say, those toys will be broken very quickly. But using get really communicates the dynamic change involved in breaking something, which the verb to be cannot. Our next example is the causative get, where a subject, often a person, causes something to happen to an object using get and the past participle verb form. For example, I got my car cleaned yesterday, I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow, he got his house painted twice last year. Now, as in the last case, in this structure we use get as a substitute for another verb. This time that verb is to have. So we can say, had my car cleaned, having my hair cut, and had his house painted. In this case, the use of get is more of a colloquial alternative to have, although we could also argue that get implies more direct action on the part of the subject than have. Just to be clear, this structure is about causation. So, I got my car cleaned yesterday means I caused my car to be cleaned yesterday, probably by somebody else. It is worth pointing out that we don't normally use get in this structure in the present perfect tense, so if we are told to get our house valued in order to sell it, and we do it, we are unlikely to say, I have got my house valued this week. We would use the verb to have. Let's look at some further examples of the causative use of get in context. First of all, get with an adjective. For example, get the kids ready for school, meaning to cause them to be ready, to make them ready. Another more unusual example, this time without an object, you may recognize from a popular song. Get your troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away. We have already looked at get plus past participle, so let's move on to get with gerund or with infinitive. The examples I'll get the computer working and I'll get the computer to work are practically the same in meaning and are extremely useful uses of get which are essentially quite simple. Equally so is the structure get plus object plus infinitive, which is enormously helpful when talking about influencing the behavior of others. For example, I got them to think about it. Another example is a great bit of career advice. Find out what you like doing best and get someone to pay you for it. Right here on this slide we have the key to talking about causation and influencing others in a natural conversational style. I hope I can get you to use it. Okay, there are many idiomatic or figurative uses of get, so here is just a small selection. Get to refers to an advantage or privilege. For example, living in Spain, I get to speak Spanish every day. This quote demonstrates nicely the distinction between obligation, have to, and privilege, get to. Quite a basic use of get is about understanding, giving us the basic phrase, I don't get it. This meme demonstrates the predicament of not understanding a joke using get twice. The last example is an idiomatic use of get as a synonym of arrive to refer to progress. Now we're getting somewhere is a set phrase used when sudden progress takes place. Okay, now on to expressions of physical movement and their figurative uses. Let's start with get through. In the examples, the verb phrase refers firstly to the subject and in the second, the object, in this case a package. Both phrases refer to physical movement through the door. The figurative use of get through refers to the end of a difficult period of time. Get over is very similar in its description of physical movement. In its figurative sense, it refers to recovery from illness or a traumatic event. Get around is again clear in its physical meaning, although it's important to remember it can refer to the subject or object in a sentence. The figurative meaning is about avoiding rules and regulations, as in this example. As in the case of the idiomatic expressions, we only have time for a brief selection of phrasal verbs here. Get ahead is used for progress in relation to others, like the title of the satirical film, How to Get Ahead in Advertising, about professional success. Get together is a social phrasal verb best remembered with reference to Bob Marley.
Let's get together and feel alright.
Get by is to survive or manage with your available resources. I think most people will be able to sing along to these lyrics. Lastly, get rid of is to no longer possess something you don't want. This can refer to any method of losing possession, from selling an old car to curing an illness. Well, I hope that the story of Get Parts 1 and 2 has been interesting for you. I would just like to finish with a song excerpt which just can't be ignored when talking about the word get. So I give the last word to Billy Ocean.
Don't get stuck, just get going.